everybody. Welcome to another BirdTricks Tuesday. I'm Dave Womach, and this is Jamieleigh from BirdTricks.com. Last week you asked us a lot if you could see what in the world we do and what our week looks like. And so we thought that we would take this week and share with you kind of day by day what happens. And since our week starts on Friday, unlike most people, we thought we'd start on Friday and then work through to the end of the week. So basically every Friday we're in Boston. For those of you that don't know, we spend our time cruising on Norwegian Cruise Lines and working and performing as professional entertainers. Now we do magic and illusion shows, our primary thing, but then we also do a trained bird show where we talk about the training of the birds and that sort of thing and allow people to meet the birds. So every Friday we're in Boston, and this particular Friday we spent hanging out, kind of running around doing errands. Each and every Friday, Holly brings us bird food. She makes a custom BirdTricks diet for us each and every week and delivers it to the ship, which is awesome. Makes it super easy for us to be able to take care of the birds. So it's of course fun to be able to see her and Amira every week, or we don't always see Amira, but every once a month or so we see her as well.
Yeah, they also bring all of our mail for us. We were able to send it all to Holly, so it's kind of our mail errand, get everything done before 2:30 sort of day. We had fun in Quincy Market this time. We went and got our daughter Capri some new shoes because she's obsessed with blue right now. So we got her some blue shoes, surprised her, and replaced some toys that she lost in the door. So
there's a little hole where the latch catches, and she took these little toy ladybugs, and she had one, and it was her favorite toy, and she took it everywhere, and she put it into the little hole where the latch goes and drops all the way down to the bottom, and she lost the ladybug, and we had a meltdown.
Yeah, said she couldn't reach it, so, and neither could we. Anyways, but that's kind of what our Boston is, and then we have a welcome aboard show that night at 7 and 9, which is actually just Dave. It's about a 7-minute routine that Dave does, and so Capri and I hang out backstage with the dancers and the singers, just because that's her favorite thing to do. So we go hang out with them while Dave does his set, and that's about our Boston day.
Yeah.
We set sail around
4? I think it's about 4.
5 o'clock. Yeah.
The interesting thing about Boston is that we really only have 2.5 to 3 hours to be able to get all of our errands done. By the time the ship's cleared with customs and then we head out, there's usually not a lot of time. So
Cody, you're fine.
you're good, man. Can I walk this way? Yeah.
No.
You're
I'm just kidding. This is our sexy
Cody.
singer named Cody.
That's his butt.
That's how he always walks.
So that pretty much sums up Boston. So we thought we'd show you a quick little snippet of what the welcome board show looks like.
David Da Vinci. Thank you very much and welcome to the show. My name is David Da Vinci. I am your thrill illusionist, as Bobby mentioned. What that means is I'm going to be performing a lot of magic for you throughout the cruise. We have a close-up magic show. We have a big stage production show. We have our very own show on the final night of the cruise. And actually right here tomorrow afternoon, we have an exotic bird show where we show you the behind-the-scenes training. We have 9 exotic parrots on board with us right now cruising. Now, I made this prediction before the show. I don't want to show it to you just yet, but I do want to prove that there is actually something inside you. You can see just a little bit of it right there. Fair enough? That's going to be sealed inside this envelope the entire time. That's 120 different color combination possibilities. If you'll please, remove that envelope. Your prediction with orange socks, green shorts, red shirt, yellow suspenders, blue tie. Now, I was so confident that we would be thinking alike that before the show even started, I placed this little prediction here on stage. Now, if I unroll it, you'll be able to see that it actually had orange socks and green shorts. More impressive than that, a red shirt, yellow suspenders, and a blue tie. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. It is that pretty cool. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for David Da Vinci.
So our next day of the week for us is Saturday, which is our first sea day. We call it sea day number 1, and that's where we're leaving Boston. We've left the night before. We spend the full day at sea, and on the sea day we wake up, we take care of the birds. Hey.
It's okay.
As you can tell, it's a busy hallway. We wake up, we take care of the birds. And then we prep and get everything ready for our behind-the-scenes bird show. Now, the behind-the-scenes bird show is not so much about here's all the cool tricks that the birds do, but more on what it's like to travel with the birds, the paperwork involved, the different methods of training the birds and working through different behavioral issues, as well as training them on stage live in front of people. We cover a lot of the different issues that if they're screwing up in front of an audience, what it's like to change that, how in a real show environment you have to always be aware of what might be accidentally reinforcing, like with Bondi and Bandit.
Yeah, for sure. Bondi and Bandit are complete opposites when it comes to performing on stage. So what we've had to do in our bird show is explain this to people and explain how applause or even laughter is very reinforcing to some birds, such as Bondi. She really loves any sort of reaction from the audience, whether they're screaming in fear or screaming in excitement is the same reinforcement level to her. She likes it. Whereas Bandit, he actually doesn't like any sort of sound being made, especially applause. He doesn't like it. So I cue them both to roll over, and for Bondi, I allow everybody to applaud, but for Bandit, I actually have to ask everyone not to applaud, not to make any noise, because he finds it negative. So if they applaud every time I ask him to roll over, he's eventually going to stop rolling over for them. So as long as I explain that, people are pretty cool about it, but it's also really neat because they're the same type of bird. They're both rose-breasted cockatoos. You would think maybe they'll have the same thing, same likes and dislikes, but they're actually complete opposites in personality. So it's really cool for people to get to see that. But I was going to say, the caring of the birds happens twice a day, so in the morning and at night. Actually, kind of 3 times, but as far as putting them to bed.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey.
Hey, thanks, good, right?
You guys are missing
she's
Maria.
asleep.
All of you wish you could see Maria.
Cody walked through our shot.
If you want to call it walking through the shot.
Yeah, he bent over through our shot the whole way down the hall. Oh, okay, so the bird show.
So after the bird show, there's a couple things in the bird show. A lot of people ask what kind of bird they want, what kind of bird they should get. And so we address that in the show, but we also have a lot of BirdTricks fans out there who ask us, or go get a rose-breasted cockatoo because they see how Bondi is, or they see how Bandit is. And so what Jamieleigh just said about how different they each are is important, I think, for people to realize that you might see one of our birds and think, I want this type of bird because that's a personality. It's totally not the case. Even between the sun conures, all 3 of them are hatched at the same time, more or less, and they're from the same family, and they all have different personalities. So don't necessarily look at somebody's bird, whether it's ours or neighbors or somebody at the bird club, and say, I want this kind of bird because it's got an awesome personality. But I want to share a bit of the bird show here that not everybody has seen, because most people don't know how Jamie got into birds, and it's actually kind of a funny story. So most of you may know that I started pretty young with birds. My parents had pets, but Jamie's story is a little different, so we'll show you that right now.
And they're the males, and they are so scary and hormonal. Sounds familiar. Anyways, his name was Linus, and I had never held him before because I couldn't understand parrot body language. So I didn't understand when he was happy, mad, sad, whatever. I had no idea. So I really relied on Dave to tell me whether or not he was going to bite, whether he was in a good mood and he wanted to dance, or whatever. So one day Dave actually drove back to his hometown about an hour and a half away, and we had just moved into a new house, and we had a bird room where Linus was in his cage. And I opened the door that morning, and Linus was actually on top of his cage, not inside. And I thought, oh my gosh, if I leave him out, he's gonna have the whole house in toothpicks by the time Dave comes back. But if I put him in, I might get torn to pieces myself, so I was really scared of him. And then I remember the one thing that Dave told me about Linus and most cockatoos is that they love strangers and they will do anything for strangers. And I realized we hadn't really introduced ourselves to the neighbors. So I noticed the neighbor kids were playing outside at the time I was pacing in a panic. And I walked out and I was like, hey guys, we haven't met you. We just moved to the neighborhood. We have a parrot. Do you want to meet him? And they were like, yeah. So they brought their parents over and I was like, this is Linus. He's an umbrella cockatoo. He's super nice. You can hold him. When you're done, just put him back in his cage and lock it. They did. So I had to come up with my own training methods really early on.
So next in our week is Sunday, which we don't refer to as Sunday, we call it Bermuda 1. And that's because we get into Bermuda at about 11 a.m., depending on weather. and each and every week. And so then we go out and we try to do different fun things. And this week was a fun week.
It was really cool, and we've kind of made a bucket list, like a Bermuda bucket list, so we make sure that we change it up and we don't just do the same thing every day. Because there's a really cool park, it's Snorkel Park Beach, and it's within walking distance. It has all the amenities, and it can get really easy to just go there every single week. And so we made a list, and this week we went to the aquarium, which we had actually done last year, but Capri was completely different this year. She had different interests, and it made it really, really fun. So we did that on Bermuda 1.
Yeah, and she really wants to swim with sharks, and we haven't been able to find sharks to swim with yet. So we took her to the aquarium so that she could see the sharks. And even though she's totally fine with the sharks and the lobster, she's afraid of the grouper, of all things. So that's how the aquarium goes. But she likes seeing the turtles, and it's been kind of fun because she's learning different animals in Russian and in English. And so we'll say, "What's this?" And she says turtle, and say, "What's this in Russian?" She says chiripaha, or same thing with a shark or whatever it happens to be at the time. So it's been really fun to be able to share that experience of seeing these animals with her, and also turning it into an educational experience. I think is a lot of fun as well.
Yeah, and I read a whole book on sharks while we were there. It was super interesting because I like sharks.
And while she's pregnant, she watched about every documentary on sharks that you can ever imagine.
It might have been Shark Week.
You can ask her anything about sharks, she'll answer it.
Yeah, random fact. Anyways.
You should tell them about the random fact of the sharks you just learned about.
No, it's okay. Okay, so there's
Did
this
you know
goblin
they can't swim
shark.
backwards?
They can't swim backwards. Most people know that, but there's a goblin shark that's way down in the deep, and it's like a pink-white color. Isn't that crazy? Oh, I think that's crazy. And the thrasher shark, it like hits fish with its tail, it stuns it, and then eats them.
What about how hard they bite?
And its tail is as long as its body. Anyways, what's the next day we need to talk about Bermuda 2?
Our next day is Bermuda 2, which we call also Monday.
Which is our only entirely full day in Bermuda. So if we're gonna go really far away, that's the day we do it, which we did. We waited for the acrobats this week because they
Which
had
took forever.
That took a long time.
Yeah, like forever. And we're not just saying next, they just walked by.
And we waited for them. We took a ferry to St. George, which is on the opposite side of the island of Bermuda, which from where we are. We took a ferry over there, then we took a bus over to the Crystal Caves, which was amazing. And because everything took so long, Capri fell asleep. So we walked down the 88 steps into the caves, and we were all talking like, if she wakes up, is she gonna be freaked out? And sure enough, she woke up down in the caves and she just thought it was awesome. Started looking around, and I thought for sure we could go swimming down there, but not the case.
It was pretty crazy though, because it had a ton of stalactites, and we learned that they grow 1 cubic inch per 100 years. And so some of these stalactites are 18,000 years old, which was amazing to see and realize how long this cave has been there. So it was fun. And then we went up to the ground level and then went back into a second cave. So we started at Fantasy Cave, then went into Crystal Cave. And once the little one realized that she was in a cave on the second one, she wanted to keep going up because the experience was a little bit too slow paced for her. So we started to cross all the bridges and stuff underground in the water, and got a little bit more exciting. And then they shut all the lights off down there, and that made it more exciting. And I don't think she ever got really scared, but she seemed to have a fun time.
That lady was panicking though.
Yes.
There was a full-grown woman panicking.
She was panicking. We thought she might run Capri off the bridge, so we snagged Capri and she ran by.
But they said that there was like if you went swimming there and then you went under even more, there was like another cave that was completely underwater. Oh my gosh, I wonder
It was like 400 feet down, so
crap, it's too deep.
a little too deep for us. We did 142 feet, it's our deepest scuba dive ever, but
Oh man, I forgot that it was that
400.
deep. I thought
Yeah.
it was a possibility in the future, but no. What else?
which brings us to Tuesdays. So Tuesdays is it's always our Bermuda 3 day, and Bermuda 3 is our BirdTricks Tuesdays day. So we always make sure that everything's edited and uploaded, which is always a challenge because of video speed, upload speed, video editing time, all this kind of stuff. We try to do it either the night before or on Bermuda 3, but we have a little bit of internet access through Wi-Fi by TBI, which is the local internet, and so we use that to be able to help try to get the videos up. It's relatively good speed versus using the cruise ship internet, which is satellite, which is great to have, but it gets bogged down really quickly. So 3 a.m. is about the best time to use that.
Yeah, and I usually end up sending Patty a message saying, I can't get the video to upload. And then she'll write me back the next day saying, I saw you got it done.
Every week.
Every week. But yeah, so Tuesdays are definitely like our upload, make sure our video's done, the blog's done, the email's sent sort of day. And tonight? Oh, close-up show.
Tonight's close-up magic. So I just do a 45-minute close-up magic show, which is pretty unique for a show setting. It's in the Spinnaker Lounge, which is at the rear part of the ship, the aft of the ship. And I just do basically card tricks and rubber bands and money and different close-up tricks for everybody. Then I have 2 people sitting at the table, and then the rest of it's projected onto a big screen, which is kind of fun. So everybody in the entire room can see, and it's always packed.
Yeah, and Capri and I usually go so that at the end we have these postcards made for our show, and everybody always wants Dave to sign them, and so Capri will be there and she'll just offer to sign it and she'll just slide it over to you. Like,
she expects them to want
you
the
want
autograph.
This. So she likes to sign autographs at Dave's close-up show.
And that puts us next at Wednesday. And Wednesday is our Elements Day. It's also our second sea day. And so this day starts usually pretty bright and early, and we head into the theater, which is all of 10 yards from our room. And we do a dry or tech run of the show called Elements, which is amazing. Those of you that have come out on the ship and have seen it, it's incredible. There's a lot of people that come out onto the ship just to see that show. And I think it's one of the reasons we have been #1 in entertainment in the fleet for most of our contract is because of this particular show. It's awesome, and we're just we're a big part of the show, but it's a big production show that we're in. And Jamie levitates on water. There's all sorts of fire and wind and smoke, and it's really cool. It's one of those things you really have to see. So we're going to show you just a couple little bits of that to be able to entice you a little bit. But definitely, if you're thinking about coming out onto a Norwegian cruise, check it out because the show's incredible. It's absolutely incredible.
This brings us to Thursday, which is our 3rd sea day, and it's our show day. Yay!
Which means we get up usually about 9:30 and do our tech run. And our tech run usually consists of just making sure that all the birds are good and that they're ready to do the show. And so we tech all the birds and everything that birds do in the show. We make sure that we get a read on where they are training-wise. And so we have a firm understanding of if they need to have a lot of food before the show, a little bit of food before the show. We can gauge where their motivation level is based on that morning run. And so for us, if it's a consistent 9 a.m. or 9:30 or 10 a.m. tech run, then we get a pretty good feed, and then the shows are usually pretty good. We run into challenges sometimes when the tech run is at like 3 in the afternoon. It's too late to make any compensation in the diet. And so we finally, when it's consistent, which is awesome, but we don't always get that choice, when that's consistent, then our birds tend to be pretty consistent in the show. And so then we have our show time, which is, it's about 45 minutes of us, just the 2 of us on stage doing magic with our birds as well as just illusions. So, I don't know, should we show them any of that?
Yeah.
All right, we'll show you guys a little bit of that magic right now.
David Da Vinci.
And so that pretty much sums up the week. After our bird show is done, after our magic show is done, everything is all finished. It brings us back to Thursday night, Friday morning, where we're back in Boston, and we do it again. So that is just a little inside, behind the scenes of what our week really looks like and what in the world it is that we do. Because I realize some of you are new to BirdTricks, some of you have been around for ages, which is awesome. We've been around, I think, 15 years or so now. And I know a lot of you have been with us since the beginning, and so it's great to have you watch these videos and be part of it. But for those of you that are brand new, this hopefully explains a little bit more about who we are at BirdTricks and what we do.
So this week we decided to pick an interesting winning comment. The winning comment literally just says, like, thank you, Dave and Jamie. I appreciate you taking the time to do these videos. It meant everything to us this week. Sometimes we can get really discouraged. I mean, I think like everybody, you can get easily discouraged from doing something new or trying something new or putting yourself out there for people to pick apart. And Dave and I have just kind of gone back and forth on, do we want to continue doing this? Do people like it? How much do they like it? Is it worth it? Is it worth our time? Do we want to take time out of our day to do it? Just that sort of thing. And we had a lot of questions in our mind, and just getting comments like that really helps us, because that makes it worth it. That makes us want to do it. Just the appreciation and knowing that people are actually benefiting, because that means birds are benefiting, and that's ultimately our goal. So thank you for those comments. Those really have picked me up this week.
Yeah, especially those of you that have toddlers, you know how valuable that time is when they're sleeping. And we spend that time doing these for you guys. So it was a big reward to feel that this week. So thanks.